Today, we're going to be interviewing the president and founder of Sound Advice Co., John Lucasey. John is an accomplished music industry veteran with a record of building successful entertainment businesses. John founded Studio 880, one of California's largest recording facilities. He hosted several Grammy-winning recording artists at Studio 880, such as Green Day, The Killers, Keith Urban, The Black Keys, and many more. John was director of audio production and mix engineer for Walmart's original performance series called Soundcheck. He directly worked with and mixed such artists as Beyonce, Faith Hill, Drake, Brad Paisley, Katy Perry, Ariana Grande, and many other prominent recording artists. John currently enjoys teaching an evening online music business diploma course through Nashville's Dark Horse Institute. John enjoys playing music, listening to podcasts, and attending concerts with his wife, Carolyn.
You're listening to Soundwall with Adam Schumann, presented by Danville Music, your local music store.
Thank you very much. It actually didn't help to launch the careers of the Black Keys, but wait a minute. Fuck yeah,
They
I
owe
did.
everything to you, right?
What the hell am I talking about? I was singing the other band, something else with keys. Not Alicia Keys. Key West?
I don't know.
Key Lime? I love key lime pie, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you?
Did you launch a key lime pie?
I think so.
I think that's where the money's going to be. Start your own
I
bakery.
hope so. Coconut cream pie, ginger. I'm actually more of a Mary Ann kind of guy. What about you?
You know the Ace Hardware pies they have, like right before you check out?
Those are rad.
They're actually super good.
Super rad.
Yep. Or a good Trader Joe's cheesecake. We'll go there.
I've never had a Trader Joe's cheesecake, but I love those pies, especially because they come with a free tool inside.
What sort of tool?
Buy one and find out.
Okay. And the only thing you love more than pies is working in music, right?
Your store.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
Your store.
Thank you.
I love your store.
John-
Danville Music.
Yeah, he's also a regular at Danville Music, and we love seeing him. Always a pleasure. And what got you started in this crazy path?
Where do I begin? Well, kind of the funny thing was when I was about, I'd say 11 or 12 years old, my buddies and I, we formed a band. And I was the guitarist. There was another guitarist. We had a bassist and a drummer. The only problem is two problems. One, we didn't know how to play instruments. Two, we didn't own any instruments. What do we do? Well, I bought this guitar at a garage sale for $5, which I wish I kept because it was actually a semi-broken early 60s Fender Stratocaster. $5.
Ooh.
So I tried to make it work, and I couldn't get it to work. But anyway, I ended up giving it to my friend. His name is Mark McGee, who ended up being the guitarist for Greg Allman and is just an amazing, extraordinary guitarist who I still keep in touch with today. But as we went on, I started to think, you know what? I would go out in junior high, I would go out and see these high school bands play. And I'd be, oh my God, these guys are really good, but there's only two people in the audience that are looking at them. They're not doing anything. They're just looking at the band like, what the hell are they doing here? And the rest of the people are tuned out. And, you know, they play great music, and in between their songs, they go, okay, here's the next song. It's going to be about love and stuff. Yeah, here it goes. And I go, okay, what's wrong with this picture? So as a kid, I would go to these great concerts. I grew up seeing literally hundreds of shows by myself. My grandparents did a lot of business, who I was raised by, in Vegas and also Tahoe. So to keep me busy, they let me go to these dinner shows by myself. Stevie Wonder, Frank Sinatra, Aretha Franklin, all the greatest, right? So I was infatuated with music by the time I was 5, 6 years old. And I was this little kid in a big booth by myself, always got the center seat. Well, you know, there's some shady characters and those places, and my family's Italian, so I got a good seat. Okay, let's just say no more. But anyway, I just started studying these artists. And one thing that I noticed, and let's say Barry Manilow, because he's somebody I've saw many times, and Liberace, that I go, oh my gosh, this is the second time I'm seeing Barry. This is the third time I'm seeing Liberace. They're saying the same thing over and over. Every show, it's the same thing. It's scripted. I didn't realize that. At first, I was pissed. I thought I was duped. And then I said, you know what? But it's a really great frickin' show. So there's something more to just playing music than being a great band. People, at that time I realized, go to see a performance and not so much to hear. The hearing is expected. You have to be a great band, period. You have to play great music, period. If you don't, you're not going to get up on that stage, or you're going to stay in the little leagues, right? That's expected. That's where audio comes in. Great sound is expected. Great quality delivery is expected. But the show is key. We go to see a show. So when I was about 12, 13 years old, I decided instead of pursuing 100% just being a rock star, I'm more interested in what makes these bands into rock star status. And it's you had to have the whole package. So as a little kid, I went up to these high school bands and I said, I got an idea. Can I help you? And they go, what? And I say, well, can I write a show for you? What do you mean write a show? Well, your script, when you walk on, before everybody walks on, the dramatics, get your friends to load your gear. Don't you be up there setting up your equipment. Make yourself seem larger than life, right? And there was one band that said, yeah, kid, sure, why not? So I did. And I helped them create a brand, create a consistent look, create a script. And it was night and day. The differences were just amazing. All of a sudden, people said, huh? Oh, these guys they must be famous. Their shit is together. It's a great show. It's a great performance. Oh, yeah, their music's good, too. So I was on to something. Then my father, who knew how much I loved music, he gave me a book. He didn't buy me shit, but one time he bought me a book. And it was this big coffee table book, and it was called Rock Hardware. And I got that in about 1978. And it was a book that when you open it up, it would say, okay, guitar. This is how the guitar is built. There's electronics. Here's some key players, things like that. I was fascinated by the technology. And then about 2/3 through, there's PA system, massive PA system. Cool. Then I turned to this magic page. It was a recording studio, this beautifully lit recording studio. Just lights on this console with thousands of knobs. It was an SSL EG series console. And all of a sudden, as a little kid, I go, that's what I want. I want knobs. I want to turn things up. I want to turn things down. And I want to tweak sounds. Right? Let's fast forward a few years. That thing, that book, that moment that woke me up told me, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with artists, and I'm going to create the perfect package. I'm going to create the best sound. I'm going to be surrounded by this equipment. I'm going to be surrounded by sound, and I'm also going to create a perfect package for them to go out and be successful with. That was my mission. I detoured because I was also a crazy motherfucker. I like to crash things. I like to jump off of stuff. I like to jump my bike I like to rappel off my roof. We're going to go into that in a second. But let's fast forward. That book that so inspired me, let's fast forward quite a few years later. I ended up on the cover of 2 of those books, with me on the cover, with my mixing console, the same brand console. So my dream did come true, but I had to work like hell for it.
Right, and I'm sensing a theme here, and the theme is you like to be a behind-the-scenes sort of guy. You seem to like the metrics, how things work, what makes the show work, not just the talent side, but you seem to be drawn to that sort of stuff. Why do you think it is? Were you like a tinkerer when you were younger? Were you building stuff, or?
Well, that's a good question. Absolutely. So you're spot on. So my grandfather, he immigrated to this country when he was 19 years old. He was born in a very poor town of Italy, migrated to Costa Rica, San Jose, Costa Rica, where he was raised. He lived in a cardboard box in a hill. Had to stop school when he just entered 4th grade, worked in a pasta factory in Costa Rica. Came to the United States, and he was infatuated with music sound. So he taught himself how to read English by reading newspapers. He taught himself how to repair radios, and he also started his own little record company to where he had a little booth. You could go sing your own song, and you come out with a record. So that was in the blood, but he was an inventor. He invented the television wall mount in 1952. And then he also came out with the first flat screen mount. So I was so inspired with him that he was so thrilled about the technology and what goes behind things that it became more interesting to me that what is it that makes things go? What makes things work? What makes people excited, right? And in my opinion, the band is just a part of the whole thing. It's a part of the whole process. And every aspect of the music industry has their purpose and their meaning, right? We all hear the evil record companies. Bullshit. Nobody's evil here. It's just called risk management, risk assessment. So how do we get rid of the risk? We have to help ourselves with technology, great recording equipment. You know, when it comes to, say, musicians, do you go into the studio with that shitty guitar that's not set up? Why do you think I come to your place all the time and say, I got another one for you to set up. I got another one for you to tweak for me. It's just not right. Most people don't know that. But those are the differences that will make you good or exceptional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Now, back to the recording. Let me start over. Let's jump back a little bit to you talking about being into stunts and doing crazy shit. Now, what would you describe as crazy shit, and at what point does getting offered extra money for crazy shit become actually something that's pragmatic versus just nuts?
Okay, so it's interesting. Hello, stunt world. It's been a long time. But there is a very significant and important difference between daredevils and stunt people, right? And the only way I could sum it up is daredevils are willing to take a shot, a 50-50, and say, I'm going to either survive and be a hero or I'm screwed. Stuntmen, my attitude was, if I don't think I could do it twice, I sure as hell am not going to try it once. So it's a calculation. It's a technology. Just like the music business, you can't just get up there and wing it and throw it out and just pray for rain. It doesn't work that way. You have to think it out. So I love life. I want to live, right? So as a stuntman, I just did everything. And was I scared? Hell yes. I was so scared standing on the top of 6 stories knowing that this is a perfectly good building and I have to jump off. right? But I did everything in my power to lessen the odds of a negative outcome.
All right. Now, I know you've been part of some very big productions, and one of my favorites was The Rock. And you talked about some scenes to where you made some side deals to maybe make the most out of your time. Would you like to talk about that?
So on The Rock, Bruckheimer and Michael Bay, he's a mess. Hey, Michael Bay, you're an asshole. Guess what? You're an asshole. I'm not a stuntman anymore. Fuck you. Anyway, sorry, you could edit that out. Fuck you, Michael Bay, asshole. But anyway, so I'm on the set, and this is kind of the changing of the guard's time to where we're starting to get a little deeper in CG. So this new wave of stunt person, I'm going to say stunt person because there's great stunt women, I mean, insane, that really inspired me. That when I went out and went to do my stunt, there was about 40 stunt people on site. I started off in Los Angeles as a stuntman. There was a lot of Bay Area stunt people. We go to the cable car, and this is a scene where the cable car is riding down a hill, and then Sean Connery starts bashing into the back of the cable car, and then it gets dislodged, starts running wild. All these people are falling off the cable car, crashes, explodes, right? So the stunt coordinator, second unit director, Charlie Pacerni, says, okay, who would like to be the crew that when Sean Connery hits, that you fall off in the stunt, and this thing's moving about 25, 30 miles an hour. Who's going to jump off? To my surprise, this group of 40, and the rest of you are just going to be passengers. To my surprise, all of a sudden I just saw people kind of turning away like, okay. Okay, no, thank you. And I was like, oh, me, Mr. Connery, me, right? And I was so like stressed out that I wouldn't get this opportunity, but there was no fucking competition. There was no competition. There was about 7 other people, all from Los Angeles, who said, okay, I'll do it. And I'm like, oh my God, because this means a bump. A bump in the industry is, at that time, I think our daily wage was around $800 and something bucks through Screen Actors Guild as a stunt player. I can't remember. But you really made your money the more risk you took. So they would say, okay, well, you jumped off a trolley once. I'm going to give you a bump of $1,500 more, right? So I was like dumbfounded. I was going, why are these guys turning away? I don't get it. I thought these were stuntmen. Well, they were wire workers, basically. That's all they wanted. So we get on this trolley, first take, Michael Bay. Hey, you asshole, Michael Bay. He's like, oh, you stuntman, you're just machines. Go do your fucking job. We get up on there. Trolley breaks free. Start rolling off. First take, we had one stunt person broke a collarbone, another one broke an elbow, another one kind of hurt, bad ankle. Okay, we're down to 4 or 5. Who else wants to do it? Turn away. Michael Bay's getting pissed. So, what the hell? What's going on here? Why aren't you guys stepping up? I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So get me in a different wardrobe, put me on the other side of the trolley. Next run, people are hurt. We're down to like 3. So now I'm getting in a different costume because now I ended up being like 3 or 4 of those people on the trolley falling off. And so that was The Rock. And I got a pretty good adjustment for that. And I was sore as hell.
I bet. And the other one I heard was Kindergarten Cop. And apparently you had some experience or had some really pleasant run-ins with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So Arnold, he's actually a really, really nice guy. He's very respectful to anybody who's working on the sets. And he's always kind of in tune with what's going on. So, my story is the way I got in the industry is I'm writing a book called Bashing Doors, the Slacker's Guide to Breaking into the Music Industry. And it's about what you have to do non-conventionally about getting into the business. And what I did non-conventionally is I came up with so many lies on how to get on the sets. Like I have a delivery for so-and-so and, oh, you're not going to let me in? Okay, well, this is a very expensive part and you're going to hold up production, but let them know I was here. And they go, okay, get in, right? I had an office at Universal, because I pretended that I belonged there. I had a parking space. I had all that stuff down. So I would go on to Universal. I go on to Paramount. I go on all these places. One time, I'm on the Kindergarten Cop set and asking for a job, and the stunt coordinator's like, nope. Well, there's Arnold smoking this Cuban cigar that he got from Fidel Castro. And I'm just watching him and, or not even paying attention to Arnold. I'm more paying attention to, can I get a job? So I'm talking to this guy, and I've been to that set maybe 2 times, in the last couple of weeks. So Arnold comes up to the stunt coordinator. His name is Joel, and me. And he goes, I know what you're doing here. You're a stuntman, aren't you? And I go, yeah. And he goes, Joel, you hire him. He's been here before. You hire him. And so that was cool. And then he gets called out to do a scene, throws down this 1/3 smoking Cuban that he traded with Fidel Castro. So I picked it up, wrapped it up. Took it home.
So if you put that under your pillow and sleep, do you make muscles, or how does that work?
No, I didn't smoke cigars, but I had a really good friend of mine that was a cigar aficionado, and I showed it to him, and he couldn't get over himself, so I let him have it, and he smoked it.
That's amazing. And something I want to touch on, and one of the reasons I wanted to bring up you being a stuntman is, as a father, you hear about, rearing your child and a lot about risk management. And one of the sad things about a lot of kids getting into electronics so easily is they don't do the jumps on their bicycles. They don't try the skateboards or the rollerblades or whatever you want to call them, inline skates. But it seems like you're not only well-tuned with the equipment that you use, but you're also, it sounds like an expert at risk management and paradigm thinking as far as getting what you want. I imagine all those skills, it made you a perfect candidate to own a music studio and get those sort of things rolling. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I definitely went at it a different approach, just like you went at it with your business. You went into a small market, but you said, hey, look, I need high-end instrumentation. It's not all about beginner guitars. It's not all about that. You learned your market and you say, hey, look, these people, people are into music, and they are into quality, and they will say for years and years, and there was no other outlet, right? There's nobody else who detailed it. So you did a fine job there. Now I just got a little lost on what the question was. I know you're teaching music business, and I'm sure that's something that you have to roll in, not only the expertise of the machinery, but also the human machines that you have to either navigate with or against. Yeah, so, you brought up about why I was a good candidate to open a studio, and it was really more based on I saw what the other studios were doing. A lot of people who get into the studios, they think it's a fun thing, right? Where I see it as a business. I see it, this is my place of business. This isn't a place to have a party. This is not a place that you could slack off on doing under the table deals and things like that. So I said, what if I run my studio legit? What if I say, no, you're not smoking in the control room? What if I say, if you want a book, you're going to sign a contract? You know, it's going to stipulate all the terms. If you show up late, that's on you. It's not on me. Things like that. And I was told by a couple of very good friends of mine who still run studios, yeah, you'll never make it. Artists don't work like that. And I go, no, that's not true. Artists are insecure. You know, if you're insecure and you act like it's fun and games, people won't take you serious, or they'll be nervous, or they'll sit there and this is a scary process for them because things don't feel in control. I know this because I am clinically ADHD on my Adderall, and as of recent. But I realized that. So I said, so I need to put systems in place. I need to have rules. This was a different step than any of the studios that I knew, even they're big. Oh, they were doing drugs or having parties. You know, it was just loosey-goosey. Mine was different. Well, what happened? Yeah, we're going to come in here. We're going to do this track. We'll show up when we show up. No, you won't. Here it is. This is how much we cost. This is what you get. And sign these terms. Otherwise, you are not booked. Well, all of a sudden, record labels, musicians like, oh, okay. Well, I guess these guys know what they're doing. And record labels were like, thank goodness we need to do business with businesses.
How much do you think you saved record companies on average? Maybe 30% of what they would be paying just by being on task with your artists?
How much? Well, that's a good question because...
Well, let's say Fantasy Studios in Berkeley versus Soundwave in Oakland, right? Or Studio 880 in Oakland. We could go with Brand X or The Plant or Fantasy, and we would pay this much. Do you think you saved them a ton of money by doing stuff like that?
Well, I was more expensive, but I was cheaper in the long run.
Gotcha.
Because it was a one-time deal. We made great records. And I also did something different than the others did. So I didn't have one engineer that did everything. I'd say, what's your project? Okay, it's Drake. It's going to be a little R&B hip-hop. Okay, I'm going to get Michael Denton to do your engineering, right? Oh, it's going to be something pop alternative like Green Day-ish. That's going to be Chris Dugan, Willie Samuels. I mean, you don't have a one-trick pony. You don't have any. You know, most studios have like a house engineer that specializes in everything. Bullshit. Is there one guitar in your shop that could do it all?
Negative.
Can you just simply plug it into an acoustic guitar emulator and use an electric Stromberg or something? No. It sounds like shit. Or it sounds okay, but it doesn't sound amazing, right? So I embraced what was right for the project, right? And that was one of my defining differences. The other thing is I had such a collection of great instruments, great tube amps, great instruments, and the other thing about it, they were all properly set up. And which I appreciate about your store, and that's what really hooked me. Like, what happened is when I moved from where I lived to where I am now, which is Alamo, right down the road, because I'm married to this beautiful wife, Carolyn, I was worried, okay, I don't have my resources. I don't have the music community. So I took a drive, and I was depressed. And I just happened to see your store. And I go, okay, another place with BS instruments, catering to kids, just going to school and just starting off. And lo and behold, you had primo instruments. So I go, okay, this can't be real. Let me pick them up. Not only were they primo, they were set up. That's the difference. Guitar Center. I listen to people play and the intonation is so out of it. Okay, no offense to Guitar Center. They've been great to me. But there's too much turnover for it to actually really develop the time to take care of each and every instrument that comes in and not be afraid to send one back if it's critically wrong. And that happens all the time. You know, when I have bands like Green Day in, we'd have Gibson send us 10 guitars and we would pick the right ones, right? That's what we did. That's how important it is. But I've never picked one up at your shop that didn't play well.
I appreciate that. And in regards to Guitar Center, I've got a nostalgia for those guys.
Me too.
Because when I was just coming up, when I was in my early teens, that was like the candy store. And I have the luxury of being able to have some of the stuff that I love in the shop. Not only because I was that nerd who would open up the guitar magazines and like when Smashing Pumpkins came out with Siamese Dream, I was like looking at the interviews like, what pedals is he using? You know, what amps are they using? What guitars are they using? And I love that stuff. That to me, just it's not just going through the scales and, you know, going through your modes or doing the practice. It's kind of the extra stuff, you know, the behind the scenes stuff. And I love that. And what is nice that I'm able to do is be able to set those guitars up to where I know that when people walk in the door, you know, it's an intimate thing when you're picking up a guitar, and if it's comfortable, you know it. And even people who are novice, if it's not set up right, they just feel something's wrong. They can't put their finger on it. But you know, any guitar shop that doesn't do that, they're giving us customers, which is a great thing for us. But yeah, the guitar is a special thing. And speaking of Green Day and some of the other artists, like what were some of your favorite amps and guitar combinations or anything that like you remember being behind the mixing board just going, Jesus, that sounds great?
Well, I've had some very special amps, and I still do. The one amp that I have that has made the biggest impact is I have a 59 Gretsch amp that's a guitar / accordion amp.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I just had it rebuilt, and this is how special it is. Besides, I can't even tell you how many bands, Green Day, everybody has used that amp, but there's some primary special users on it. Black Keys came in, and it was the one amp that they used at my studio on the album Thick Freakness. I'm trying to remember the song. We did one song for them, producer Jeff Saltzman. And then I partnered up with Jeff Saltzman and on one room, and then we supplied the Killers for their first album, Hot Fuss.
That is one of my favorite, just on a side note, that album is one of my favorite debut rock albums of this century. I think Hot Fuss is one of the best.
Well, it's an interesting thing. You work with what you have, right? So on that, I had Green Day booked in one room. I think I had Robert Cray in the other room, trying to remember, or it was the Donnas. Can't remember. And then my room I needed for myself, and then all the others were booked. So we set up Jeff Saltzman's condo in Berkeley as a recording studio. And so I picked everything for him. I picked out all the mics. I picked out all the amps, sent him out with a bunch of Neve, which is a vintage console, EQs and everything.
Like the 1073s?
The 1073s, that's right. But what we used is everything like SM57, Shure SM57s, which you sell at your shop for around $100.
They haven't raised their price in like 3 decades. I don't know how they're doing that.
It's awesome. Yeah. So I only sent those out. I didn't send any primes.
Okay.
Like Neumanns. You sell Neumanns. You have the 47s and the U87s and all my faves, right?
Yeah.
But I used the workhorse mics only. And I also sent my first amp that I ever owned, which is that Gretsch. It's the first amp given to me by my father when I was about 13 years old, 12, 13.
Was your dad a musician?
No, he just played around. So he was never a formal musician, but he just played around. He loved sound. And he just encouraged me. So I brought over that amp. So that amp was the one amp they used on that entire album. And like I say, I've been offered $200 for it before. I've been offered $400 for it before. They did that album, and then the producer, after the album became a success, came by the studio and said, well, we have to have that amp. And I said, okay, you can't have that amp. So I'll give you $500 for it. I go, you can't have that amp. I'll give you $1,000 for it. You can't have that amp. What do you not get about you can't have that amp? I'll give you $5,000. No. $10,000. No. All right, final offer, $25,000. Fuck you, Jeff. He was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He wrote a check. He signed his name on it, and he goes, I'm going to hate you. I'll never forgive you. We will never be friends again. You write the amount, 6 figures, and I will swear your name. I will swear at you every night of my life, but I need that amp. And I go, okay, accepted. Whoosh, whoosh, ripped it up in front of him. I got the amp in my room. It's still mine. It's done everything from the Killers to Black Keys to a bunch of groups.
Yeah, it's got a story. You can't get rid of that, right?
Can't do it.
Okay, now's a good time for a quick bathroom break. What do you think?
I just went.
Okay. Oh, good.
Right here while we sat.
And we'll get a mop and bucket break, and then we'll be right back.
No, you don't need to. I wear the right proper attire. No. Okay.
Musicians, it's Black Friday, so put that turkey leg down. Come on down to Danville Music. We've got all the best guitars. We've got all the best gear. Join us at Danville Music or danvillemusic.com, your local music store.
And we're back. So we were talking about your...
You're back. I'm not back.
Well, we need you with us now.
Baby got back.
What?
Baby got back.
Did you work with Sir Mix-a-Lot? Wouldn't surprise me.
No, I wish I did.
He never called you?
No.
What would you say to him if he was in the room now?
Why didn't you call me?
That's fair.
I'm really upset. My friend bought his Porsche, though.
Did he?
The purple Porsche.
Did he find anything cool in the glove compartment? Do tell.
I'm not telling.
Okay. Well, the Gretsch that you mentioned, I'd love to play through that. So sometime please bring it into the shop.
Yeah, but you got a lot of cool amps at your shop. Like, you carry Sir.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Sir is a really cool company out of Lake Elsinore. John Sir used to work at out of Rudy's music shop in New York, the really famous music shop. So John Sir built some guitars under the name Penza Sir, and he built stuff for like Eric Clapton, Peter Frampton, Mark Knopfler, all these great artists, and then ended up working at Custom Shop. And he was when you buy a Fender Custom Shop, that's a high-end guitar, but when you go into the Master Builders version of the Custom Shop, that's really a way to level up. So he was a master builder for a Fender Custom Shop. And he started getting this waiting list of like 10 years to get a guitar built by John Sir. So he got wise and just decided to break off and said, what am I doing building for another company? I could build my own guitars. So Sir Guitars became essentially you're buying a Fender Custom Shop, and they're very much like Fenders, and they're fantastic. But their amplifiers, I think, are really underrated. Like some of the favorites that they've come out with. My personal favorite would be the SL15, and what that is it's a super lead. It's a Marshall Super Lead. That is a 15-watt version of it, and as I think you've probably seen this change too, as we get more into the modern age where everything's being mic'd. It's not like the Led Zeppelin days where you had 4 Marshall stacks because you never mic'd a guitar cab through the mains, right?
Yep.
So nowadays it's really considered. It almost seems like a waste to bring anything over 100 watts onto the stage, because you're kind of choking, in my opinion, you're choking the amp a little bit. You can't get the volumes to the points where the tubes are working at, with all cylinders, because you get that stage volume and automatically the front of house just wants to pull everything back and not put you in the mains.
Yeah, totally.
So the Sur amplifier, not only is it, that's my favorite one they build. They also do something called the Ombre, which is like a 15-watt job. That's a lot like a Tweed Fender Deluxe.
That's interesting that you brought that up, because, I never went over 50 watt with my studio amps because I didn't need the volume. I just wanted the breakup, right?
Yep.
And that's the whole attitude on it. And you know what, Adam? I just frickin' figured you out.
Uh-oh.
Because when I went into your shop, I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, okay, is he a music retailer? But these are personal choices of yours. So what I mean by that is you pick Sur because you're basically getting custom shop quality on a different brand. You pick PRS, you got Gibson custom shop quality in a different brand. It's starting to make sense. And I was like, do people really know what they're buying? And if they do, that makes sense. But I was used to seeing just the basic commercial, music stores that offered you crap, but it had the fancy name.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying so. And actually, the hardest thing for me is to decide, having 3 kids, it's like I can get all the stuff that I like and I think is cool. But if I only carry the stuff that I think is cool, then I'm not serving everybody, and that's not a good business model. What keeps the business thriving is different than what my personal tastes might be, and something I think that is super cool might be something that's completely unusable to somebody else. So I have to double check myself and have a conversation in the bathroom where people think I'm talking, to Satan or something.
I don't know. So I don't know about that, because I go in there and I go, I don't know this. I've never heard of this, but holy shit, it sounds really good. It sounds better than good.
Well, we don't carry any crap. Like we're not gonna be doing like an Amazon brand, which are basically instruments masquerading. They're toys masquerading as instruments is what they are. But so we want to have anything that we can stand behind. But also, I think because I've toured, I've done session work before. And I know what works, what doesn't. I've also been behind the mixing board. I've run sound for people, which, by the way, for all the guitar players listening out there, I really hope you take the time to do yourself a favor and run sound for band. Like, do 15 shows, and you will change your tune as far as what you're going to bring and how you're going to set up your equipment for a live show, right?
Yeah.
Because when I was 15, I had one of those PV 5150s, which is a fantastic amp.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
120 watts, and I'm sure when I went into the small club, Lindy's at the time in Concord, that's where I'm from, I bring this 120 watt amp with a 4x12. I'm sure the sound guys go, what the fuck is this guy doing? he probably hated me, and rightfully so, walking in that stuff.
Oh, you broke his ribbon mic.
Yeah, probably. Which, there shouldn't be any ribbon mics in the tax bracket that is Concord.
I know.
Be a man, get a 57. They're tough.
Yeah.
No, but
they smell like beer.
Yeah, well, of course. Again.
I mean, good beer, I hope.
No, I don't think not in these bars around here.
You mean
unless you're in the hop grenade?
Wait, yeah, of course. You got to be in the hop grenade. It got to smell like a Pliny, because one time I got in front of a mic, the shittiest sounded SM57 I went in front of smelled like a Miller Lite. It sounded like shit. You know why? Because I was pissed. It wasn't the mic. I was just pissed.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. You don't play angry.
Why?
Well, unless it's a punk rock show, I guess.
What about saying anger?
Well, that's a whole different thing.
Let's talk about it.
Being canonized as an anger?
Yeah.
Boggles the mind.
So what's wrong with you? You buy all these really high premium amps and everything like that. It's making you create work. You have to explain these things because everybody wants the brand, right?
True, but I don't think our business model isn't going to be buy this amp. We don't have sales meetings where like, go sell these. Hey, there's a quota. Like that's the last thing I wanted to have as a music store, because you can smell that. And I think being authentic, and everybody in the shop is a professional musician, has played, has recorded. We don't hire people who haven't played before, because you can't speak honestly. And I really do believe on a long enough timeline, people can smell that. And so anything I play or anything we have in the shop, even if I don't like it, I'll just say, I stand behind it. It's a good product. It's something that lasts. It's not going to break on you. It's the expression. One of my customers told me this phrase that I'd never heard. He was an Australian, and he said, well, buy once, cry once. And it goes back to my father was an electrician, and he would tell me never buy cheap tools. We have this old Black & Decker pneumatic thing that we used to work on our cars, because we had shit cars growing up. Mm-hmm. But he has this Black & Decker that his father owned, and now my son could plug this pneumatic tool and pull tires off a car if he wanted to. 4 generations, right? Yeah. And I'm a big proponent of hand-wired amps for that reason too, because you can get amps that are fantastic. But I'm kind of a snob when it comes to hand-wired amps, and I'm really stoked that like the companies we have, like the SL15, which is a super lead at 15 watts from Sir. That's a hand-wired amp. Fender released a bunch of really cool amps that do a hand-wired series, and the one I use in a Eagles tribute band I play in is called the 57 Champ, which that's classic. Like the Derek and the Dominoes album is made of that. Yeah. Joe Walsh and the James Gang did a ton of recording on that. And Neil Young used them. I mean, it's
which one?
It's it's a 5-watt Champ, the 57 Custom Shop Champ.
Oh, okay.
So Fender released a hand-wired version of that.
Okay.
And I replaced the speaker with a Jupiter El Nico, and it sounds great. Huh. And they also released a hand-wired version of the Fender Princeton, which is a fantastic amp.
Does that have spring? No.
Oh yeah.
It's
got the Accutronics spring reverb.
Oh wow!
Some of the original Transformers too. And then Milkman out of San Francisco, we carry those amps, and those are an homage to Fender.
Jeez, but homogenized.
Yeah, right. but they're fantastic.
Yeah, but you know what also is interesting is your acoustic guitar selection. So here's the problem. Well, there's your problem, see? So I walk in there, guy like me, I'm all over it. You carry Taylor, you carry Santa Cruz, and I even saw, as of recent, a Gibson Hummingbird. Am I not correct?
Oh, yeah, those are great. Gibson changed their story around. I mean, and no insult to Gibson, because, I mean, I've got 3 Les Pauls. I love all of them, but there's a couple of decades where they made some bad moves. And as of recently,
mid 70s.
Well, even more recently than that.
Okay.
And as of recently, they changed their CEO. His name is Cesar, and they did a major house cleaning. And for a long time, I would say, stick with the 90s or a little bit earlier, because they can be a little bit wonky. And now they're back, and it was so inspiring to see them back, because it's an American institution, in my opinion, right up there with Ford, Chevy, Fender, all those brands. And so they make their acoustic guitars in Bozeman, Montana, and we get these shipments in, and they've done like the SJ200s, the J45, that's like the workhorse of acoustics, and like you said, the Hummingbirds. Everything that's come out of there, we've just pull it out of the box, strummed it, and just going, oh man, it just jumps. And we get excited when we get cool gear. And so if we're excited, then I think that translates really well to anybybody who comes to the show.
But I need to let me get it out.
Okay.
I'm going to give you an injection.
Okay. Truth
serum.
It's the worst heroin ever.
Let it settle in.
Okay.
So here you are with some really top name brands, right? As far as acoustic guitars, most people start their kids off on lessons with acoustic guitars. They just do. Steel string, not as much nylon. It's too wide, even though it's easier on their hand. But what I've noticed, because I taught for a little bit, is most kids drop the guitar. They give up on it. And because their parents bought him a $120 guitar that the action is so high, or you can never get it to where it is, that they saved a bunch of money on a guitar, but it really hurts.
Yeah.
Physically hurts to play, right? And it's something that if they learn to play, they're going to be less interested in that instrument anyway. So, but most people don't buy those for their kids. So what's your logic behind that?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are afraid that if they spend the extra money, that it's going to be a waste. And so they buy them something crappy, which actually it's very it's self-defeating, because if they can't enjoy it and they can't play it well, then it's not going to be a pleasure to play, and then you've kind of lost the game there. I think you can find guitars that are under $500 and that will play nicely. That will be a much more pleasurable experience there.
But you're fighting an audience of parents that are saying, no, I don't want to spend $500. I want to spend $100.
Well, what I would tell them also is if you're into investments, if you buy a $200 guitar, good luck selling it for $30. Mm-hmm. and if you buy a $500 guitar, something like a nicer Yamaha or even a Taylor, if you go higher, you'll have a lot more chance of getting more money if you decide to sell it because it doesn't work out.
Do you know I've never lost money on an instrument?
No?
Nope. I got one story about the one that got away.
Okay, what's the one that got away?
Okay. This is really painful.
Okay.
This is a therapy session.
Okay. Where are you now? Where's your head now?
I'm sad.
Okay. Describe your sadness. Describe your sadness.
Okay. Well, I was working at my mother's restaurant when I was a teenager.
How do you feel about your mother, John?
I love my mom, but a little less because of the... No, I love you, Mama. And my stepdad, who is just an amazing blind musician. So I'm in high school. Everything is about music. Everything's about guitars. And I go to my friend's house, and his dad says, yeah, I have this old guitar. And I bought it when I was a kid. I just thought it looked really cool, and picked it up 3 times and never played it since. It's under my bed, as it always has been in its case. Mm-hmm. So he pulls out, ready for this?
Okay. A trumpet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
French horn. He pulls out a 1958 Carina Flying V.
Oh, okay.
Shut up, Adam. You're pissing me off already.
All right.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Nope. Shut up with your eyes. Close them. Nope. Put your hands over them. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
So he goes, well, I never use this thing, so I think it's about time to go. And I said, well, I really want it. How much? He goes, well, you're my son's friend. How about $500? And I go, I'm a 15-year-old kid. Yeah, I'm working at my mom's restaurant. I'll get the $500. So he goes, and I said, I get paid in about a week and a half. I'll be back with $500. So I go to my mom and my stepdad, and I said, hey, my friend's dad is willing to sell me this Flying V guitar. It's my dream guitar. I want to play it. My mom and my stepdad sit there and go, Flying V? No. Yeah, you don't want that thing. It will, you can't sit down and play it. It will slip off your lap, whatever. And I go, I don't care. I'm just going to literally take my clothes off, get in front of my closet, and play naked with this thing. That's all I care about.
So I'm imagining Buffalo Bill with a Flying V in front of me right now.
Yeah. Times 3. And they're like, yeah, you know what? We won't advance you. If you want to wait for your paycheck, you're good. But no, yeah, you don't want that guitar, so we're not going to support it. And I said, I do want that guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So I told my friend's father, and he's like, oh, that's cool. You know, I've had this thing since 1958. It's not going anywhere, right? And I said, okay, cool. So I finally get my check, and I go over there, and I am so happy to get this really cool guitar. And I said, here it is. And he goes, oh, you know, my friend came over, and he said his kid wanted to learn guitar, and he just wrote me a check for $200 and bought this guitar. And I go, really? And I go, when was that? And he goes, day before yesterday. I was crushed. I was heartbroken. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that guitar is worth approximately, in that condition, about $450,000 now.
Fuck.
But guess what? You know what it was worth to me? Everything. I
Yeah.
would have never sold it.
I believe it. Especially not, you'd have that in a Gretsch and you'd be
Yeah,
flying high, man.
that's right. And
Now-
I said to my mom, I said, you know, and this was just about 5 years back, I said, remember that guitar you wouldn't lend me the money for? I said it was worth $450,000. You know what she said to me? It would have been really hard to play on your lap.
She stuck to her guns. Man. You know, I'm figuring with your Italian heritage, didn't you have a way to get them whacked or something like that for selling guitar early after you give it to you? You didn't have any connections?
Didn't I have a way? Look them up.
Yeah.
How you doing?
So you've told me before about your stepfather.
Yeah.
So it must have been amazing watching him work, being blind and seeing him, you know, around. I know around instruments. You said he was quite the guitar player, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
So describe to me what that was like, if you don't mind.
Heaven, you know, is just amazing. I can't describe it. I mean, he was just such a phenomenal player. What a great inspiration to new musicians. He was blind, and he was the director of the music program at the California School for the Blind. He wrote for Congress about how to instruct blind people. And he, not only were most of his students blind, but they were on the spectrum.
Okay.
And many of them went off to have careers as musicians. But, you know, he got to play at so many special places. The Grand Ole Opry, sang in the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, man.
Just everything. He would play every style. He sang opera. He was really passionate for bluegrass, and there's a long story behind that because he was kidnapped and he was reunited with his mother when he was in his 50s, and she ran the bluegrass festival. Never knew that. They
Wow.
had that connection. But one of the things he passed on to me is his prized possession. The thing that meant most in life to him, next to my mother, was Ethel. And that's a guitar that I currently own. That was the guitar owned by Freddie Green.
Oh, wow.
In the Hall of Fame for the King of Swing, played with Count Basie.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's a 1939 Epiphone Grand Emperor.
Oh, man.
And I have that guitar. And I won't even play it. I need to play it. Every guitar needs to be played. Never buy a guitar and hang it on the wall. Don't buy a $500,000 guitar, Gibson 1958, and hang it on the wall. They need to be played.
Yep.
Right? Mike Dirnt from Green Day, you know, who spent many years in my studio, whenever he'd have a new bass that came in, he'd leave it out in the lounge with a sign that says, "Please play me," because I will not play it on tour unless it's been played every day for 3 to 6 months.
Love that.
Right? Needs that chicken grease on it.
Yeah. I'm 100% in. You know, I do believe instruments should absolutely be played.
I've noticed that.
And it gives you it's got a history now. It's got some, there's magic that happens there too.
Well, that's the kind of funny thing is that the thing about your store that's kind of sets things apart is your guys like Dave Chris and all the other guys are like, pick it up. And are you serious? They're like, no, pick it up. That's what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
You're doing the guitar a favor.
100%. 100%. So I get the impression that with your stepfather, like he not only gave you a lot of lessons, but you have a philanthropic side to you, and I know that you do a lot of education. So you want to talk to me about, you know, the studies, or sorry, the courses that you have prepared, and why you did it, and what you saw missing, and the typical education systems that you're going to be providing.
Yeah, really cool. I've never worked a day in my life, and I'm so grateful. I've loved every day that I've been in the music business. I've enjoyed this such great career that my philosophy is what I've enjoyed, pass it on so others can, right? So I developed this 20-week program, got accredited by the state of Tennessee, music online business program through Dark Horse Institute in Nashville. I hold no secrets. You know, it's not like a traditional course that they teach you about the music business. I connect them with contacts. I do real life pitching. I do everything about how to get a deal. I would say about half my students are monetizing the music business about halfway through the course, the 20-week course. They're already in it. They know how to do it. And it's because there is, how would you say, no bullshit. Mm-hmm. Call this person. But they say, don't call. We don't accept calls. Fucking call the person. This is how it's done. Present yourself like this. Get in like this. You got to be aggressive. You have to be proactive. A good friend of mine who lives right around the corner here in Antioch, T. Supa, who was the drummer for MC Hammer, who guests on my show once, or guests on my class once in a while, says one thing, and he's so true. He says, the music industry never says no. You have to give in. You have to say no. I don't want it anymore. As long as you stay there, you persist, you push, you learn, you keep trying, and you're straight up, you're straightforward, speak the truth, you're going to get in. It's only up to you to say no. And that's pretty much about any industry. Your industry. You know, the biggest market in music is number one, music sales. Number two is live sound, right? But how do you stand out on that? You tell me how you stand out on that. I'm curious.
Well, in terms of just being a retail store?
Yeah.
The way we try to stand out is, and our banner is going to be this, or has been this. Do things that the big guys can't. I'm a big fan of, like, I don't know if you've read much of the Malcolm Gladwell books, like Tipping Point, Blink, but David and Goliath. Like, we consider ourselves right now David.
Yeah.
And the banner is going to be, what can we do that other people can't? And here's some of the things that we can do. Like, I also own Soundwall Music Camps, which is an overnight camp. It's it's the original rock music camp that was started in 1993, and I took it over a couple of years ago. So we're able to provide that. We provide lessons from teachers who are top notch. We sponsor the local baseball teams, the sports teams. We donate to the schools, and we also hold events like in our hometown in Danville. We have a Hump Day Hoedown, one Wednesday a month, and we do a theme night, and we provide a service to where we have people come out, and we provide professional backup band. We tell people what the theme night is. It could be anything from Led Zeppelin night to Eric Clapton night to Jimi Hendrix night to holiday music night, acoustic night. And we have people who come to our store who, some of them quite good at their instrument, but they don't have a avenue to play in front of people. And it's free. You just walk in. We do giveaways. We give away like pedals, straps, cables, all sorts of stuff, merch. And we try to make that part of the community because we can have somebody have their first performance ever, first time playing in front of people.
Yeah.
Be just a really pleasant experience. And I remember hearing something where 85% of people's biggest fear is not, shark attacks or car crashes or cancer. It's speaking in public, which I think is, from an existential point of view, it's so crazy. Their biggest fear is, what are they going to think about me? What if I say something dumb? So playing into that, we try to do stuff like that. We do tours, like we've done the tour bus to Santa Cruz Guitar Company, and we're going to work on bigger and better things in the future. Maybe have people chipping in to go to local California manufacturers and just check stuff out and make a day of it, because we really I like hanging out with people anyway. Love shooting the shit, and I love being able to connect to other people, like-minded people, making friends, and I believe that's where your head should be at anyway. Like, make the culture a better place and make the industry a better place. So our whole thing is, the banner is just, what can we do that other companies would have a hard time doing?
Wow. I'm going to give you a challenge.
All right.
Because you're already doing it.
Okay. I can do at least 8 Tide Pods. If you think you can beat that, then come at me.
All right. Here it goes. Biatch.
Yeah.
Okay. So once in a while, I'll substitute at a middle school, right?
Okay.
I just... I need to stay in touch with kids, what they're thinking, help them out, give them encouragement. I have my misfit crew. I call them my misfits, right?
Okay.
And they're the ones that are, identify as LGBTQ or whatever, or they're the artists, right?
Right.
Doesn't have to be gay, doesn't have to be whatever, but they're kind of the underrated people, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're very timid. Most of my people are very timid, right? And they don't know how to express themselves. And there's becoming less opportunities to express themselves, right? So, but what the amazing thing is about performance is a freedom to pretend in a way. Oh, there's a bug in here.
My name's Adam. Go on.
Adam. Up and Adam at. Is not to pretend, but to just get the courage to stand up and speak up in a form of art, right? They don't have that platform. So how do we reach the kids? How do we reach the middle schoolers that are impressionable and either think that I don't have a chance in hell going through high school or whatever, or I will have a platform. I will have a platform of art and expression, right? How do we reach that instead of a middle-of-the-road business person saying, I learned guitar, now I get to play it? What do we do? What are you going to do about that? Sorry to call you out on this.
No, that's a totally fair question. The way I would go about it is to give them the tools to where they feel like they could do something great. And if they have a platform that they don't feel like they have a voice in, we could give them the knowledge of, especially in the field of music, how to record something, how to get yourself into the stratosphere of it doesn't have to be fame or fortune, but just having something tangible that you created and you made a mark in some sort of way, I think is a huge thing you can do for people.
Yeah.
I was one of those outcast kids. You know, I got in a lot of fights in school, and I always felt like I was at odds. But the one thing I did have, and I think a lot of people need, is some sort of tether, you know, like some sort of anchor somewhere to where you can go to that place that's stable. And for me, music was that. So if we can provide that, if it's a kid who's from a broken home who wants to play guitar, like we've donated to Toys for Tots and give them guitars and that. But maybe not, if we want to go a step further, a guitar, and if they've got a skill or they've got an artistic inclination, getting them to the point where they can create something, and no matter what happens to them, they would have something that they created and was in the stratosphere. And surprisingly, there's a very small percentage of kids who will have something like that.
That's right. And I need you to reach out to them, Adam, because I'll tell you why. I took on a job for a whole semester teaching PE. That's not my thing. Mm-hmm. It's not my thing, but a friend of mine, you know, was on leave. And so I took over the course. And I got to know all these kids. There's the jocks, the athletes, and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And that's what everybody associates PE with, right?
Right.
To me, I said to the kids, look, we have our athletes, we have our thinkers, and we have our artists. And we have people that just enjoy video games or whatever. No matter what, we're all different. I don't expect the same results from all of you running around this track. If you're a musician or an artist or if you're a creative, I want you to walk with me around the track. If you are an athlete and you play a sport, you're going to run. We all have a place. And getting to know that and getting to know these people that never would say a word, I mean, what they would express is, I would love this, but I don't have the outlet, right? How do you reach those people? How do you give them that outlet? Because that's what they're about. You know, artistic, a creative form of playing music, writing song, saying what's on your mind, or just having something that is not what's expected. Musicians are devalued in this world right now, right? Athletes, you know, they're valued if it's an entertainment, right? How do you do it? How do you reach these people? Don't answer lightly.
I would suggest having the people who are good at what they do, the jocks, have them start dip their toes into the art world, and vice versa. Because the more cross-pollination of those sort of ideas, not only will it make you a better person, but it will allow you to expand your social circles. And, you know, just feeling like you belong and feeling like you're part of something, that's a big part of the outcasts, or the whatever you'd like to call people who are socially on the outs. I mean, how do you make a dog mean? You isolate them, right?
Yeah.
You know, you don't introduce them to anybody else. And the best way to meet people, I have found, has been to put yourself in their circles and learn something, and be okay with learning something, and be okay with being bad at it.
Yeah.
The way I was raised is you had to do some sort of art and some sort of sport in the house. Mm-hmm. Jocks need to go to painting classes, and the band kids need to do at least a ping pong table, you know, something. But at the very root of everything, there's a very, very good reason why any major culture that's been successful, they value both of those things.
Yeah.
So I don't like to put it in the jocks versus the musicians or the artists.
Yeah.
I like to say no, but dip your toes in both of them, and if nothing else, you don't have to be good at it. You don't have to be the best guitar player.
That's right.
My kids are in soccer. Like my girls, they like soccer. And my son's, he's doing baseball. I don't put him in these sports because I want them to be pro. We do this because we want their life to be better. And how many different like you have more. The more you have in common with people, the better conversations will be. The closer they are.
But how do we educate the parents on this? Because good example is, I used to mix a lot of the American Idol artists.
Okay.
Right? And one of the things that I noticed is when you give America the right to vote, they're going to go for the people that could do vocal backflips and all this other shit. And they would never fucking see these people perform live, to where people who sing like Bob Dylan, like, hey, whoa, those are the iconic singers.
Yeah.
Right? So if we educate the parents, because the short time that I taught guitar, I would meet more parents that were, okay, we need our kid to be more connected to mathematics and things like that. And they couldn't give a shit about creativity. They wanted regiment.
Yeah.
But if there was a compromise in there, both wins.
Yep.
Right? The kid has something that will carry him through life, is something that is treasured and meaningful to them, gives them purpose in life, and that will get them through the tough times of being an intern at at a hospital or whatever. And the parents get their goal, but where is that in between? I'm sure you're coming across that quite a bit, right?
Yeah. Well, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world, right? And we've had one thing that, especially our guy Dave Chris, which you know Dave well, he will not only educate the kids with the instrument, but he has this whole spiel where he talks to the parents when we do a rental.
Yeah.
And there will be a parent and a child that come up to the desk, and he's like, "What are we doing today?" And immediately the parent starts talking, like this, and then Dave is like, I'm sure to the annoyance of a lot of parents, is like, no. I was talking to our musician here.
Love that guy.
Man, and it's such a great thing. Yeah. And he tells them in no uncertain terms, he does this whole spiel that a lot of the other employees have adopted too, because Dave, he cares.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. This isn't just an instrument rental that we do. This is something that it's a responsibility. This is not only a learning lesson in how to efficiently play your instrument. It's a learning lesson on how to care for an instrument and how to be responsible about it and how to take it back and forth. And at the end of his spiel, you'd be surprised at how many parents go and pick up the instrument. And Dave's like, no. You are not a roadie. And then we'll tell the kid, like, well, what's roadie? I'm like, well, do you know what a roadie is? Kid's like, I don't know what a roadie is. I'm like, well, it's usually a bigger guy with a really bad ponytail, maybe missing teeth, and they get paid to move your instrument. Your parent is not that, and this is something extra. And here's the thing: why there's hope is the reason the parent got the kid the instrument is somewhere along the lines they may have read a Psychology Today or whatever that said, if you get their brain active with music, there's connections being made, and it will change the physical makeup of your brain. Yeah, it's an amazing organ, right?
I agree.
So they care.
Yeah,
but there's a great bumper sticker out there to where it says something like, I'm tired of hearing parents say kids these days. Kids have not changed. They haven't changed for hundreds of thousands of years. It's the parenting that's changed. And getting parents enrolled not only to be involved, but also to not do everything under the sun for them.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal. Yeah. Like your dad saying your dad never bought you anything.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing with my parents. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, and really if I want the first guitar I bought was a Mexican Fender Strat.
Yeah.
And I was fired up about it. We went to the Guitar Center.
Yeah.
In San Francisco. And I dug ditches for this guitar, and this thing was beautiful, and it was mine, and the pride I felt every time I grabbed that thing, like those are the sort of things that shape people.
Yeah.
So I suppose I'm kind of saying I don't know if it's just educating the kids. Maybe it's enough. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
But maybe educating the parents is maybe the bigger fish to fry. I don't know.
Yep. I agree. One more thing.
Okay.
You're going to hate me for this.
Okay. I hate you for a lot of reasons, but this will
The guitar and the amp is just the start, right?
Yeah.
So what I have always told every band that I work with is you have to have a great instrument. It has to be set up. You have to have great delivery, which is an amp. But that's just the beginning. So you could sound like everybody else, but in order to be successful as an artist or a band, even if it's a cover band, you have to have a unique tone, right? So every guitar of mine, I'm not afraid to change things around. I need the right pickups for the right job. I want to make it my sound, my unique sound. And most people are satisfied with what they get. You know, they go with the same patches if it's a digital effects processor that everybody else uses. But sometimes it's about finesse. Getting that nice Les Paul and say, instead of going with 500 pots, you go with 400K pots, right? Do you even do anything like that? Do people request that? Do they say, I want a new pickup, but like a new, or like I want to add a PAF sound or a 67, or is that pretty rare?
Oh, people are constantly chasing that. In fact, let's take a quick break, and I will, in a very boring and painstakingly way, explain how that all works. How's that sound?
I'm good for a break.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Musicians, it's Black Friday, so put that turkey leg down. Come on down to Danville Music. We've got all the best guitars. We've got all the best gear. Join us at Danville Music or danvillemusic.com, your local music store.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer your question, and
I know you are, but what am I?
Do we have to do this now?
Because I
Stop it! Stop it! John, I can't work like this.
Whatever.
You're gonna make me quit on my first podcast.
Yeah. And I'll take it over. It's me, it's all minus the John Show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the Brewing Network.
Yeah.
Talking about guitars and SARS.
SARS? Like Russians?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they don't last long.
Oh, okay. Then we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
SAR, do you know where the term SAR comes from? With the
No.
Caesar.
Oh.
The term Kaiser, the term SAR, all deviates from Caesar.
So they're all about salads?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Every SAR had to be,
Creamy
vegan.
dressing.
Right. So the question was about like the details, the pickups, all the minuscule details of a guitar and how much that matters. Would that be a fair sum up of what you asked, or am I completely wrong?
Yeah,
here?
that's my curiosity. Is John Q public saying, I want to modify my guitar, I want to make it sound like mine, or most of them, are they just saying, this is it, this is top shelf, I'm getting it?
The short answer is depends.
Yeah.
And I found that the guitar players are a really interesting and a very strange and dogmatic bunch. And I'll put myself in that category too. We get a lot of guys who will come in, and because owning a guitar lends itself to a personality that can be really techie, and they want to get really in the weeds about the finite details of what a guitar is and what it does, which I think that's what makes it fun. And I love that too. So yeah, the answer is yes. We do get a lot of guys who will say, I got this guitar, but I want to change the pickups. I want to change the strings. And if you go down that rabbit hole, there's just so many different details that really have a big impact on what your guitar sounds like, down to the string gauge that you use. Sounds silly, but the thickness of the guitar pick, that makes a difference. And I know Mike Campbell from, one of my favorite guitar players from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah, he calls it bone tone. There's a natural tone that people have when, as you know, it has to do with like the mass of their fingers, their bone density, how much they dig into their guitar. All those things make a big difference. Yeah. And what I would say is I'm probably going to get roasted on a forum for this, but I'm going to say it because I really do believe this. The more you have your own sound, the less your equipment seems to matter. And let me quantify that. I heard this story about Les Paul. So Les Paul was a genius.
Yeah.
You know, he built his own radio, heard a guitar, and he invented multi-track recording, I'm sure, as you know. Yeah. He was the first guy to use a solid body guitar, which people said he was crazy for doing that. Just
the log.
Yeah, the log, where he basically he had a faux setup in front of people where it looked like a semi-hollow, and he took the sides off. It's like, look, I have a solid body guitar. So there's a famous story about him going into a New York jazz club, and he's checking out this jazz guitar player, Pat Martino, who's a fantastic guitar player. Yeah. Really young at the time, so he's got Les Paul coming and watching him. I can imagine the nerves on Pat when he did this. And after the show, he goes up to Les Paul and says, "So what did you think?" And Les Paul says, "Well, I think you're an incredible guitar player. You have a great command. You know your scales. You got all you got the chops."
Yeah.
But then he asked, "If you were on the radio, would your mother recognize your sound?" And that to me was just this great statement, right?
Perfect.
And it makes sense.
I love that guy.
And I find that the more I'm on my own journey, the less the equipment matters, but my inspiration is everything.
Yeah.
So if you get to yourself to the point to where there's also famous guitar stories about people who get on Eddie Van Halen's rig.
Yeah.
They'll get on his guitar, same settings, everything's the same, but they will not sound like Eddie Van Halen.
Sure.
So the better you get, it's more about the lumberjack, not the axe.
Yeah.
However, I do believe in order to get to that point, you have to try a lot of things. And the way I play on a Fender Strat versus one of my Les Pauls is very different because I'm going to hit it a certain way. Yeah. And I'm going to do something it's almost like a wrestling match where you're just wrestling the notes out of the guitar. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And or finessing them, whatever the situation calls for. But I think the equipment absolutely matters, but not as much as the lumberjack.
Yeah, yeah.
But and some of the stuff I like to carry some of the stuff that's kind of left of center too, like some of my favorite pickups. I love Lindy Fralin pickups; they're fantastic.
What's their profile? What would you say?
They do everything from mini humbuckers to Strat pickups to Telecaster pickups and stuff. One of my favorite things to do is Lindy Fralin developed this base plate that's an oval shape, and it's specifically designed to fit underneath the bridge pickup of a Stratocaster. Mm-hmm. And the whole reason is the Telecaster pickups, oftentimes the bridge pickup is more beefy because there's this pentagon-shaped plate underneath it. So Lindy got this idea of having this, and it's like a $16 part. Yeah. This metal plate where you connect it to the ground of the pickup, and all of a sudden it mellows it out, but it makes it beefy in a weird way. Those dumb little things make a huge difference. So it's fun going down that rabbit hole and chasing it.
But how do your customers know what to ask for?
They don't. I guess if we're doing our job correctly at the shop, we're an interpreter. Yeah. And again, one of the reasons I like having so many brands is because we're not going, well, you need this because that's what we have in our store. Yeah. We can say, when we'll tell people like, well, it looks like you need something that we don't have. Yeah. Because I think if you're honest about that, that translates really well. And the long game is to make sure there's trust. There's trust in what we do. If people don't trust what we have, then why would they buy from us? Mm-hmm. You can do online sales and you can do all that sort of stuff. But again, we have to be somebody who can. We have to be somebody who can do things the big guys cannot do. Right. Right. So I think doing that, like the process of getting a customer what they want and chasing down something that they were looking for is so gratifying. Yeah. Both for me and for the other guys in the store. So I love that. Like because at the end of the day, the music should be inspiring, and that doesn't have everything to do with the tools. Yeah. But having tools that are not functioning definitely makes it something that's not enjoyable. Yeah. So that's where we come in, and people are in for the gold rush. One of my favorite shows is Deadwood. It's a Western show on HBO. Mm-hmm. And the headline of that show is, you have this gold mining town to where everybody's going for the gold rush. You can consider that the music industry or your quest for tone or whatever metaphor you want to use. but I'm the guy who's the hardware guy, the guy who provides the goods.
Mm-hmm.
And you can provide the hotels, the brothels, the bars, the opium tents, whatever it is in your gold mining town. But the guys in those mining towns, the Old West towns, the guys who always end up ahead are the guys who provide the picks and shovels, or the tools, or the entertainment, or just the necessities to make something either survivable or enjoyable.
Yeah.
And that's our job.
Okay, I got a question for you, because
Okay, cool.
Here's kind of ironic, and we never talked about this. It's kind of funny. So my drummer Marty has done sound for your band, which is an Eagles cover band.
Yes.
And you guys are doing pretty good. I don't even know what name you guys go under.
Midnight Flyer.
Midnight Flyer.
Marty did a show where I was not there, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, Minor Sleep, I believe it was.
Oh, I see. But he said you guys sounded pretty good. So what are you guys playing through, if you don't mind?
Yeah, not at all.
Just curious.
So the mixer I use typically, and I know Marty uses these too, are the Soundcrafts, the 24 UIRs, and really the reason I use that is because it's got 8 auxiliaries. One's dedicated to the subwoofer, but I can do 7 different monitor mixes, and that's really helpful because the digital mixer thing, that's such a game changer, especially if you're somebody who can't afford to have a sound guy.
Yeah.
You can provided you can talk, and this is the hard part, talking everybody in the band to marking their goddamn settings.
Yes.
And not changing that shit.
That's right.
That's the hard part, right?
Yep.
But once you get into that world, you can save scenarios to where you have not like another band member sleeping with another band member's girlfriend scenario, but like a scenario as far as your show is concerned.
By the way, that's never the basis.
Never the basis.
Yep.
Yeah. They got too many cats they have to tend to, so they don't hang out after the show. They got to feed them.
They're just a roadie.
Yep. but having that is really helpful. So we have the Soundcraft. We can save our shows when we do it, and then move on to the next show, and it's saved as a scene. It's great. And then for my personal rig is I have the 57 Champ with the 8-inch speaker, 5 watts, and you put a 57 in front of that, sounds great. It's exactly the sound you're looking for. And the guitars I use a 51 Tele that I've pretty much I haven't really modded much. I just put some copper tape. Okay.
Yep.
You feel clamped right now?
Choked. Okay.
So 51 Tele, it's got the 51 pickups. The only thing I changed on that thing was to put compensated brass saddles on it.
Yeah.
Because in the old days of intonating a Telecaster, it was like Neanderthal shit. You had to take needle nose pliers and just bend them to where the distances would match so that your guitar would be intonated.
Yeah.
I have a 57 Strat, one of the American Vintage 2s. It's got the soft V-neck on it. I love it. I love the big bulky neck on that thing.
Yeah.
And I put Lindy Fairland pickups on it.
Wow.
The blues specials. And then I have a Duesenberg Star Player TV phonic.
Wow.
And what I've found is especially no noise. And especially in bands when you have more than one guitar player, your job is not to get the best tone. Your job is to blend with the other guitar player to get this. It's a two guitar situation now.
For sure.
And I think that's lost on a lot of especially young guitar players. So that's a lot of the gear we use. The other guitar player uses a Fender Princeton, one of the hand wired, so the reissues.
Yeah.
Princeton's a fantastic amp. Couldn't recommend it more. So none of our amps are north of 15 watts.
Wow. So I'm going to give some people out there some advice. Okay. So if you want clarity in your sound, whether it be live or recording, learn your frequencies. And one way you can learn your frequencies is to get one of those 32 band equalizers. Doesn't matter if you pay $80 for it or if you have one that's digital, right? And when you listen to a tone, start dipping the sounds, and then it will tell you, okay, this is from the 50 to 80 hertz or whatever. You're in the 2K range. You have to understand how to speak, tones and language. So you're saying, okay, we have the kick drum, that's around 60 to 80, right? You have to give every instrument its space. It's really crucial.
Yeah. Don't dial up your guitar with too much low end, because now you're competing with the bass player tones.
That's right. And what happens is what you get is phase issues, right? And it will cancel out the bass, cancel out the guitar, and basically, essentially, it makes things muddy. So you get all these engineers who say, I'm going to get the most beautiful full range out of the guitar. I'm going to get the most beautiful full range out of the bass. Well, I'm a mixer, right? So I start carving stuff out. And when you solo it, it doesn't sound like this big, rich, full bass, but it fits. And then everything has its voice. And that's a really important thing to learn.
On that, like just piggybacking on what you just said, there's a great show called the VH1 Classics, when they go through classic albums, and they'd have like the Joshua Tree or Lou Reed's Transformer or like Fleetwood Mac Rumors, all these things. And I remember there were scenes where the engineer would actually be in front of a board and would just solo the guitar tone, right? Just solo, and you hear the guitar. And you're just like, man, it sounds wimpy.
Anemic,
It's like, oh God. And then they turn the solo switch off, and the whole band comes in, and it just sings.
That's right.
And it's so wild how that goes, which is why, again, man, every guitar player, every musician out there, like, go mix a band, do it for free.
Yeah.
And just so you can see what's happening with the frequencies. And another thing with so many guitar players do this, even really good, technically great guitar players, I've seen them do this, where they either dial in what I call as bedroom tone, which is when you want the guitar full and sounding good by itself, which is not what you want to do for the same reasons. You impede on the other frequencies. But also, they will dial in their tone with the guitar amp on the floor, and they're hearing their tone through their calf muscles and with their heads about 4 feet above where their speaker is, which is not what the microphone is hearing. And they overcompensate their tone by turning the highs up, because like, can't hear the highs because they're going through their calf muscles. And then what happens is you got a shrill sounding guitar, and now the front of house guy doesn't want to mix you loud because it's like piercing. And now you have a major cluster going on,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you also mentioned about 15 watt amps and things like that. So, through my experience, my best live recordings, when I have went out and record Paramore, Lenny Kravitz, everything like that, they have these stacks of amps on the stage, right? They're all dummies.
Yeah.
Here's the secret. Okay, I'm going to be shot for this. I don't care. Been shot at before. But we would place a little small amp in a little ISO off stage.
Yeah.
Like Keith Richards, for example. I know his guitar tech. I bought a couple of Keith Richards guitars. And he's like, you see all these amps, on stage, but we have this little tiny Italian practice amp backstage. I have the name of it. I wrote it down, and with an SM57 on it. And it's isolated. It's the tone we want. It's the frequencies that are thinner than what we perceive, but it sounds right, and it blends in, and it doesn't interfere. But it's isolated, and it sounds a lot better. And that's something that people need to consider if they want high-definition live audio, right?
Yep.
And that's just part of the skills. So what we need is we need to come up with our first unique sound, right? We don't want to just go with the general patch. So how do we do that? We select the right strings. We select the right pickup combination. We say, do we want a bone, nut up top? Do we want that sustain? Things like that. Things that you could do to make your guitar unique. What pedal selection? Are we going to go with, amp modeling? If you go with amp modeling, model it yourself.
Yeah. Don't
just stay with the patches. But I love pedals.
Me too.
I do love pedals. Well, to me, they sound better.
And I earlier I talked about just being the lumberjack, not the axe. However, when you find that combination, I mean, when you combine several different factors that each equal 1%, well, now the percentage gets higher and higher, down to the nut, down to the string gauge, down to the picks, down to the pickups, down to the how your strings connect to the body. It's a huge importance. Like that's how everything resonates, and these minute details add to something. Not only that it improves the tone by a larger percentage once you put them all together, but also there's something being spoken for is like when you nail it, the inspiration you get from it.
Yeah.
I mean, your mental game is like a lot of other things is one of the utmost importance. So when you're happy with it and you're like, yeah, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Like you can't put a price tag on that.
Man, you got a hell of a responsibility because you're selling high-end instruments, right? Taylor, Gibson, Ernie Ball, things like that, sir. Okay. So if somebody's going to that route, if they're going to go that far, how do you make that combination where it's perfect? How they really get it, not just the guitar, not a basic amp. How do you modify it to make it theirs? How do you get the right combination that's going to make that guitar scream with the right tubes, whatever amp you're running, what pedal combination or whatever for them? There's a lot of things that most people don't take into consideration. So you have a huge responsibility, honestly, and that's what I love about your shop. I got to be honest.
Thank you. And the big headline here is I listen.
Yeah.
I'm listening to what they want, and it's not what I want. I'm listening to what they're trying to achieve. And then once I guess I have the luxury of I've spent many wasted youth years just reading up on what guys were using and being able to put that together for them. Like if they tell me they want something that sounds like they want something for a heavy metal band, I would probably start with like a Mesa Boogie or something like of that ilk,
triple,
and start there.
Yeah.
But that's the starting point. I mean, and there's I've used some pedals that are legendary. Like I owned an original Klon, which is like this legendary.
Centaur.
Yeah. And honestly, it's an amazing pedal. I bought it originally from Bill Finnegan. You used to have to call him to order. Like you couldn't even order those things online.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's great.
Like,
yeah.
Don't buy my pedal for this much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess what? So I know the Klon. I know the profile. Guess what pedal that I have that I bought from your shop that your guys have told me, if you like that, try this.
Which one?
And I was shocked.
Okay.
I borrowed it and then I bought it. The PRS horse meat.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
And it's one of those things where a lot of people are like the type of person who wants a Klon, if they see PRS, they're thinking about their artists.
Yeah.
They do a lot of things like that, by the way. Like the MT15 that PRS released is a great amp. It's Mark Tremonti. But people see Mark Tremonti and say, well, he's a guitar player from Creed. I don't want to sound like Creed. But what they don't know, which is funny because if you buy a Gibson Les Paul, like Slash is famous for the Les Paul.
Yeah.
He sounds nothing like a jazz player, right?
Yeah.
That's always, I think, humorous. But because they see the MT15, they're like, oh, it's Mark Tremonti, it's Creed. I'm like, their clean channel on the MT15 is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you can go from 15 to 7.5 watts. But as far as the Klon is concerned, and I will say I loved my original Klon, but I compared it with a JHS Morning Glory, and I just sounded better with the JHS Morning Glory.
Yeah.
And it was just my own personal tone. And like, it's not about the dollar amount. You can find some cheap pedals that will make you sound great. Yeah. And I'll help you find that too. It's not about the money. It's about, we want to see you walking out of the store like stoked. Yeah. And inspired, because that's how we're going to get it. Again, the long game. If people walk out saying, I bought this super expensive thing, it's like, well, that's great. But if they walk out of the store and they tell their friends, I walked out and I found my tone, that is better than we made a couple $100 more.
100%.
Right. So the Well, this is what I like, especially overdrive pedals, because come into our shop. I love talking overdrive pedals, and it's great.
Yeah.
But I compare them to microphones for vocalists.
Yeah.
And it's not about the price point. Like one thing that Bono and Michael Jackson have in common, you know, the microphone they used was a SM7.
Yeah.
They could afford anything. They could.
Oh, yeah,
They could.
totally.
They could afford the U67 that John Lennon spat in, right?
Yep.
Use that $15,000 microphone, but that's not what worked for them, because the humans are fallible.
Yeah.
Guitar players are fallible. Singers are fallible. They have stuff that will accent like the best parts of them, and stuff that will reveal the worst parts of them, and you have to find what works for you. So, and with amps, guitars, pedals, anything, the idea is you're not just playing an instrument, you're also being an artist. So whatever it is that allows your art to be heard in its best form, that's what's right for you.
Yeah.
And if that means a $25 guitar you found, you know, behind a dumpster, then that's what you use.
Yeah.
If it means, you know, if you have the means and it's, you know, several $1,000s and that's the guitar that gets your art across, that's what you got to use.
Yeah, I hear you. What about one last thing I wanted to ask is about a lot of my students that I teach, they all want to start podcasts.
Okay.
So one thing I have not noticed, just because I look at guitars. Do you carry anything like Steinberg or anything like that anybody could start a podcast IO or? Yeah,
well, the tools for those for starting your podcast will be, you know, if you want to go basic and just entry level.
Yeah.
Set of headphones. The Sennheiser HD 280s are great. They're under $100. And if you never do a podcast again, they make great just headphones for listening to a stereo.
Are people buying like the mics? Are they using USB mics? Or are they using XLR too?
I tried to steer them away from USB mics.
Yeah.
Because you want to get the interfaces, and you can get cheap ones. Steinberg's good. Yamaha's going to be introducing some units that basically it's the AD converters.
Mm.
So you plug a microphone into this box that plugs into your computer. And from there, you
like USB-C or is
it could be that. It could be just the regular USB cables too.
Okay.
You don't need to have anything that's super high fidelity. So entry level, for under $150, you can get yourself a unit where you can plug it right into your computer and start doing recordings. If you have a Mac, you can use GarageBand. GarageBand, I think, is underrated. I use Logic Pro. Logic Pro is awesome. That's what I use. It's $200, and I've spent $200 like 10 years ago. I'm still using it.
Do you get anybody coming in for podcasts?
Oh yeah, especially like with Christmas around the corner. You know, a lot of people want to give something to their kids where they want to do a podcast, and honestly, you can get away with like a 57 or a 58.
Yeah,
one of those the boxes for a digital audio workstation into like a whatever computer programming, and with the Yamaha and the Steinberg stuff, it comes with Cubase.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff you hear in the radio will be either Pro Tools, Logic, or Cubase. I find those are the three big ones.
Yeah.
Stop me if I'm wrong on that.
No, it sounds about right to me. I think, it's kind of funny because everybody always comes up to me, what's the best digital audio workstation? I'm like, whatever you're using.
Yeah. Right.
I use Pro Tools. But that's what I'm used to.
Right.
So.
Okay, cool. Well, before we wrap up here, I just wanted to talk about Sound Advice Co.
Okay.
And talk about what your next moves are going to be, so we can find you, and not in a weird way.
Yeah, no. So my site is www.soundadviceco.com, or you can even go and get to the same link at johnlucasey.com, is LUCASEY.com. And I provide consultation for, your pro audio setup, whether you're designing a new recording studio, a home theater, or if you're a new venue. Currently, one of my current projects is I'm in charge of designing the sound system for San Francisco. It's a Union Square concert series.
Awesome.
As well as their permanent install in the square. I have designed that completely myself. And that's about it. Teaching music business, working with artists as well, and enjoying the local music scene. And That's why we are friends, my friend, because you're certainly passionate about music. It's not about the business, but thank God you're doing well because there's other people like us.
Man, thank you. It's been such a pleasure.
Right on.
All right, man. Well, again, check out John Lucasey. He's doing great stuff in the community and just salt of the earth and incredibly knowledgeable in everything he does.
And anybody, hit me up at john@studio880.com. Let me know if you want to meet at Danville Music. I love hanging out at the couch, and let's chop it up.
And don't be late. We don't want to hang him on the couch for too long.
Yeah, and buy me a beer. Thank you.
There
Bye. Go. Get away.
I was told I could play guitar at a reasonable volume at Danville Music the store or at danvillemusic.com. Thank you.